3 certified ski instructors, 30 years of experience, one mission, to break down skiing like never before. Tonight, we take you inside our 3-step movement analysis, a deep dive into ski technique. First, observation, breaking down an experienced skier's movements. Then, evaluation, identifying key areas for improvement. And finally, prescriptions, custom drills designed to fine-tune technique and unlock better skiing. We're refining this process to help skiers reach their goals, and tonight is just the beginning. We hope to do this for other skiers intent on improvement. Let's get to work. Hey, how's everybody doing?
Good, thank you.
Good. Well, as I just described, we're going to do a little ski analysis on Melissa, and I was hoping maybe, Daniel, you could start first by explaining your ski background and why you're here giving analysis.
Yeah, as you said, I'm a certified level 3 instructor. It's a long road. I started off just teaching my brother, thought it was a good time. But he became a ski instructor and got really good really fast. And I was like, I gotta catch up. So that's why I started the program, and I've been with PSIA, Professional Ski Instructor Association, ever since, and just plowed through and got the certifications, and now I'm continuing to learn and grow and finding out just how much I still have yet to learn. It's been a fun journey, really.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Daniel. You've actually shown me quite a bit on the mountain, and that level 3 is very impressive, and I hope everybody realizes that. So thanks a lot for the introduction. And Charlie doesn't need much of an introduction since he's done some videos already and talked about his background. But if you describe your background in skiing a little bit, Charlie, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I've been in the instructor world for quite some time, and kind of grew up taking a bunch of ski lessons and realized that it could be a job. And I thought, well, that sounds like a great time, and it's worked out, and I'm still able to do it. So.
Yeah, and just to recap from your other videos, you have a racing background and numerous certifications within PSIA, and you have a 10 to 15 years of ski instructing experience, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And finally, me, I have a background at adaptive sports, mainly sit skiing, and then I became a regular instructor, teaching a lot of kids and luckily a few adults at Schweitzer. And now I'm ski instructing again and hope to get my level 2, which isn't quite at the levels everybody else is, but I hope to add something to this video. But I love skiing. I'm happy to be doing this, and it's fun to learn skiing all the time. Anyhow, and finally, Melissa, what's your background in skiing, and what are your improvement goals?
Well, I learned to ski when I was 10 on a landfill in Michigan because I grew up in the South, right? So then I did a little bit of skiing in North Carolina. And then when I was 25, my parents let me come skiing with them out in Utah. So I took a lesson at 25 and then been skiing out west ever since. And I would say probably about 10 or so times I've gone to a clinic at Alta, an adult clinic. I've worked my way up from the intermediate camp up to, I guess what they like the breakthrough. And then there's another level, right? So like moving into that advanced skier, program, so to speak, right? Still fine tuning. And I think my understanding and my goal, like when I get to that level or at this level, is to be able to ski well through all kinds of conditions, right? It's not the runs that you ski, it's how you ski it, which is another way of saying I want to look like I know what I'm doing. But yeah, that's my goal. So just to bring it back to the last thing I was working on last year was keeping the skis parallel throughout the entire turn. So I'm already seeing some of that in the video. I got a preview, right, where like there's always one ski that's kind of late to the party, right? So that was kind of the last thing. What else? Like staying I don't want to say staying forward, but being more aggressive over the skis, and then, you know, angulation, as Cody is always pointing out to me. But that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I'm comfortable on almost any kind of terrain, but it's just a matter of, you know, can I ski it well as the terrain and the conditions change.
And I don't know if you said this and I didn't hear it, but Melissa's been to some pretty impressive week-long camps, both at Jackson Hole and Alta. She's very passionate about that resort. So she's pretty steeped in a lot of the techniques and drills, and it'll be interesting to see what she gets out of this.
Yeah, should I tell them, Cody, like Alta and like level 3? I've been really lucky. Some of the people that I have been taught have are some of the people that write the curriculum for PSIA. I'm not going to drop any names, and I know they train people, and I don't say that to be snobbish. I've just like I've had some incredible ski instructors. I don't know if I've done them justice, but I really appreciate like what you guys bring to it. Like it means a lot to me, right? And as Cody will tell you, I take my skiing way too seriously.
I wouldn't say that. She loves these drills. She's always she likes stork and advanced stork.
Yeah.
And it's so yeah, she is very receptive to this. She likes to train. She really likes to do a good job at everything she does. And I think she's a great person to be doing this and get some instruction. So thanks, Melissa. You're very brave.
That last thing you said about you taking it too seriously, I think you could make that argument about each and every one of us.
Well, then that's good, right? Because there are times where people are like, just go ski. And I'm like, well, I don't know how to do that, right? Because I'm out there thinking about what I'm doing. Or like if it's the first run of the day and I'm like, oh, I'm not on my skis where I want to be. Like, I'm going to do the stork pose, and I'm sure it's embarrassing, but I'm like, this puts me where I'm supposed to be. So I'm always thinking about those kind of things, maybe too much.
Yeah. Any questions for Melissa before we watch this video together?
I don't think so.
Rock and roll.
All right, here we go, Melissa. We're going to watch you ski. And you know, feel free to say anything. I think it'll make this more interesting. Melissa, you say what you're worried about, say what your concerns are with skiing. And if you point out anything, Daniel or Charlie, that'll be great. And I'm mostly going to sit back and watch. So here we go. Ready?
Right. I think my first comment that I made prior to this was this section was relatively flat, right? So I feel like I'm just kind of barely picking up speed here. That may work for or against me.
Yeah, as I recall, this is the top of Sundance, and the top of Sundance is about a green, maybe. So pretty mild for sure. And then this looks like it's getting into that blue terrain there right before it goes into the ungroomed or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Feel free if you want me to pause it anywhere, if there's anything you want to pick out, or if there's anything you're concerned about, Melissa, okay?
Yep.
But yeah, it looks like you're skiing that terrain very effectively. Medium radius turns is the zone we're in right now, it looks like. Maybe half the run, if you will. Pretty round turn shape, which in general, that's what we're all going for. Round generally means smooth.
You have any thoughts, Charlie?
Well, a great turn shape, yeah. That, like Daniel said, that round turn shape is what we're all looking for. That's the goal.
Yeah, I would say even right there in that freeze frame, you can say she has really good flexation compared to most people that ski out there too, right? She's actually got those knees bent. That's what I see. That's what I always focus on.
Right to the knees, the lower body. Excellent. A little bit of a slight wedge entry, it looks like, in the beginning of the turn. But in general, I'm not too concerned about that as long as the ski is performing correctly. That's always what I look for. Is like snow spray, is the ski performing? Are you accomplishing the task that you're looking for?
Okay. I think I can do better on like upper body position. That's something that I think, I don't know, you all tell me if that comes with time, right? Like trying to focus on, I've been told keep the zipper pointed downhill. I think that goes to kind of rotation, right? To me, it's hard unless it's really steep. If it's a steeper run, I have an easier time keeping my upper half pointed down the hill. But I can see here where, I'm not doing that 100%.
Yeah, it looks like kind of to what you say, there's a little bit of break and balance specifically on your turn to the left.
Okay.
And you can kind of see that in the snow spray as far as ski performance. And then if you look at the body, you can kind of see evidence of that, of not fully stacked, if you will, over the skis, where there's this little catch, if you will. And that's probably also leading into that slight diverge or converging ski there at the end of the turn or beginning of the future turn. But once again, like you're accomplishing the task, right? Which is a medium radius turn, moderate speed through reasonable blue terrain is my guess. I'm not entirely sure. Are you on maybe Keystone, the bottom of Keystone there, or is that, I don't know.
I can't remember.
Can't,
Probably.
can't quite tell.
Yeah.
It's one of the ones that's considered a black at Lookout.
I think that's the bottom half
So
of Whitetail.
That
they
Yeah.
sounds
groomed
right.
it. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. It's been a long time since skied whitetail.
Now the thing that's I've heard a lot about is like analyzing the way snow comes off of the ski. And when you look at the snow coming off the ski, it seems can you describe that in more detail, Charlie or Daniel?
Charlie,
Sure.
you want to take
Yeah.
this one?
So what I usually look for is like, where is the snow coming off of the ski? Like ideally it's gonna come, that spray is gonna come from out in front of our foot, towards the front third of that ski, ideally. That just means that lets us know that we're putting more pressure towards the front of that ski. As that snow spray gets further and further back, we've got more and more pressure on our heels or towards the tail of the ski. So the more we can be out towards the tip of that ski, the better.
So would that look like there's a little bit? It looks like there's a pretty good spray, but she's on the back a little bit. Is that where that spray is coming from?
Probably
I also
just a
kind of
little
look
bit.
at, yeah. And with that, like I kind of look at the amount of spray, because spray kind of indicates displacement of snow, right? So if you have a larger wave of snow coming off that ski, you're going to be displacing more snow than, say, a minimal amount of spray, which can be the desired effect of you want to scrub a lot of speed or throw up a big cloud of snow to ski through, right? But it can also mean that you're putting up more snow than you need to be in different parts of the turn and creating a lot more friction than you necessarily optimally want to achieve at the speed that you're going, creating a lot more work for yourself, if you will, to regain the speed after losing all that energy, or not directing that energy effectively into the next turn, if you will.
That makes sense.
All right, thanks. we're going to play this, and the next slope's a little kinder. There was a little bit of ice in this. It wasn't much, but it, you had to definitely work on getting on your edges, wanted sharp edges. So next up will be Bonanza. Let's watch her do the last couple turns here.
Yeah, like nice deflection. Like I do see energy transferring from one turn into the next, um, which is that smoother look that we're going for, right? Yeah, I can definitely see a little more speed in this run. You can also look at the spot in the turn that the spray starts, like the talking about the snow spray that we were talking about earlier, right? The snow spray is kind of starting at that top of the turn, which indicates that there's good engagement from the ski right from the beginning, if you will. So all that energy is being placed through the entire turn rather than just in one section or whatnot, which is also contributing to that round turn shape that we mentioned at the beginning and that smooth look, which I keep on circling back to.
Okay, so does that mean like the sooner the spray starts? Because I think one of my other goals is always to get up on the new outside edge early, right? In the transition, like hop on the new outside ski as early as possible.
Yeah, it definitely means you're engaging the ski effectively very quickly.
Okay.
Um, so I would say you're achieving your goal on
Okay.
that based off of this video.
On the simpler levels, I catch these simple things because I'm always working on them too. What do you think about the width in her feet? I mean, it's a pretty good distance and compared to what like a lot of 90 skiers have or 80 skiers. How do you think the width is pretty good between her boots?
I would say so,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a definite nod towards style. But yeah, it looks great. Honestly, it looks like the width of her skis are about the same width as her hips. Um, it looks like that's creating good balance, um, which is what we're looking for: is control, balance on the ski. The narrow stance can contribute towards quicker pivoter, more more pivot for like bump skiing. Like if you watch the Olympic bump skiers, right? They're just pivoting the skis kind of through that rut line. And if you look at their legs, they're literally glued to each other, pretty much. I swear. Um, but that's very different than say Michaela Schifrin cruising a GS course, where she really needs those skis to act individually and needs the control and power of a good stance. Um, and the balance of a slightly wider stance. So I would say you're more on that wider stance, if you will, stability, looking at that straight out of the hip socket, um, balanced, strong position. I don't know if you
All
have
right.
anything to add to that, Charlie.
I would just agree with everything you said. Now that hip width is pretty key for a versatile turn. I tend to get a little too narrow myself, but for another day.
And by the way, this is live, so if there's anybody out there watching, we may have time to take some questions at the end. I have a friend that's asked a question. Of course, it was more of a joke, which I appreciate that too. But we have time at the end. We're going to run through some questions. All right, here we go. Let's watch the end of this video on Bonanza here.
Yeah, those last two turns looked really cool.
Awesome.
Quite nice.
All right, awesome, awesome. I guess after that we did a pretty good job of kind of analyzing the skiing as we went through. So can we kind of officially at this point, Charlie and Daniel, evaluate her skiing and maybe give us your input too, Melissa, as they are discussing things. A little back and forth would be nice, and we can go back over that video as needed and pull up certain things if you'd like.
Yeah, right on. I would agree. We did a good job of observing a lot of good things happening there.
Yeah, Melissa's a good skier.
That's good. Okay, so I'm thinking back to what you were saying about what did we talk about? Like kind of the body position, like a slight. You had a certain way of saying it, like a slight break in the body position. How would
Break
you?
and balance
Yeah,
those
or balance.
legs.
So like, what would you say? Like, where does that balance need to go? Like more forward, more over the outside ski.
So it looked like your alignment kind of broke a little bit, specifically and to the greatest degree, I would say, on the turn to the left on that black run, that bottom of whitetail, I guess. And the what I mean by that is you started bending more in some of your joints than others of your joints. So the force was unevenly displaced through your body, if you will,
Okay.
creating undesirable skid, possibly contributing. Well, I would say likely contributing to the converging skis there at the end of the turn, or that wedge entry, if you will.
Yeah.
As
Okay.
kind of like a compensation or a recovery from that.
Okay. That makes
Right
sense.
there, you see that? And it's a little bit on the turn to the right too, but it's more pronounced, at least in this video, on that turn to the left.
Okay. If I remember correctly, like the late entry, it's the inside ski that's coming in late, right? In the turn. Is that what it is? Like I'm not getting the weight off the inside ski soon enough to like bring it in. Because I know you said like the wedge entry.
Yeah. So like I see that downhill ski kind of sliding down the hill a little bit, at least the tail, which is both kind of finishing the turn on just the old outside ski,
Okay.
um, while you're shifting onto the new outside ski, which is your old inside ski, right there. Um, and I think it's partly contributed to uh, that separate upper and lower body. Like your upper body is really with the skis all the way through there and pretty far forward, honestly. Um, and I know it's farther forward because that tail of the ski is kind of releasing more so than the tip, and you're still on edge. So there's extra pressure on the tip of the ski, right? So that tail of the ski is just kind of washing out a little bit more than you might want. So shoot me now, but almost if you were to finish that turn a little bit more centered on the ski, if not adding a tad pressure on the tail. And we'll kind of get into the hows of that, and I'd say the prescription here in a little bit. Are we to that phase yet, Cody? If you're being our judge.
I think
Well,
so.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure is.
Because I know this probably seems, depending on who's going to watch this video, right? Like, this is the thing I've been working on for like a couple of years, right? Like, this is I mean, I'll let you all correct me. But this is, from what I understand, this is what makes an advanced skier, right? Like, the ability to edge the skis, to use the whole skis, and to come into those turns, like exactly where you want to be. So this is actually what I've been working on for a couple of years. I'm always happy to have more drill, right? And you guys are laughing, and Cody laughs because I think he's starting to work on some of this stuff maybe. I
Hey,
don't
hey,
know.
I'm
He has
perfect.
to
What are
work
you
on
talking
anything.
about?
I'm just saying, this is like a very fine tuning, right? When you get to this level, it's these tiny little changes that I swear it takes a little bit of time to get to. Like sometimes it'll take me a couple years to get something like this. So, anyway.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. You're absolutely right
Melissa,
with
I
that.
feel like I've been working on these things like my entire adult life. Like
Okay.
it takes forever. Like, and the
Okay.
last couple
I'm
of years, I
still
feel like I've
working on
gotten a
it.
little bit better, mainly thanks to Coach Daniel right there.
Nice.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
But
This is the part that makes me that I like, right? Because I know we're all nerding out on this and it's like this little detail, but it's like it's at this stage, like it's everything, right? Like it's just I don't know, maybe not for moguls, but yeah, it's everything else.
How
And
about you,
moguls
Charlie?
too.
That was Daniel's input a little bit, and I'm sure you agree with Daniel. Would you add anything to the evaluation portion of this?
I don't think I have anything additional. I think Daniel did a great job with it.
Yeah, I'd agree with Melissa too. I have a feeling a lot of people can relate to this video if they watch it, because at the end of the day, when you're trying to be advanced, you want to be on that edge perfectly. And that's hard to accomplish, on the best day. So you're right, Melissa. I'm working on that too. I'm not perfect. So I'm trying to get that down packed. All right. Yeah, I think that was great. The next part of this is prescription. And I've talked to Daniel and Charlie. I have a couple things pulled up and videos we can talk about the prescription. I think the first one I have ready to watch with everybody, if you're all right with this, Charlie and Daniel, is the clap behind hips drill. Do you mind if I play that video? And you can go ahead and add whatever you want to it. As I'd suggest explaining as we go through, either Charlie or Daniel. And Melissa, you ask any questions.
Sure.
Here we go.
Perfect.
Slow intro. So I think one of the thoughts that Charlie and I were talking about, we had the opportunity to kind of chat a couple of nights ago about this your videos, Melissa, um, was just kind of the thought of um, breaking out of a routine, if you will. Like it's obvious that you've had a lot of instruction um, and dialing things in and thinking really, really hard. So this clapping behind the back kind of lets go of the poles, which automatically is a break in routine. Gets you out of your head just a little bit. Plus, if you watch really carefully, every time they clap behind their back, they're adjusting their body to be pretty much standing over their skis before they go back into a flex position. So they're moving through this range of motion, if you will.
Boom,
See
that's a
that?
good one.
Boom. And then they go back in that flex position, really working on that flex extend, which will aid to that balance, I guess, that we're talking about over the ski and the center of the ski. So move forward with that extension. And then if you continue playing the video, maybe as they flex, they kind of recenter to the back of the ski right there. You see
Okay.
that?
Yeah. Okay. I like that. Well, and I like your point about breaking out of a routine or a habit, like shaking things up. And the body position. I think that looks really cool.
Yeah. Any other questions about that, Melissa?
No, I'm gonna be one of those weirdos on the hill that doesn't have poles. Like it won't be the first time, but yeah, no, I'm excited to do the drill and see how it feels, right? Like how does my body feel through the transition and then back into the turn, like just working on that sensation.
Okay, I
And
believe
Charlie,
there's.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Charlie had a couple points that he wanted to really draw out on that last drill, and I may have
Okay.
touched on them, but not as good as he did the other day.
Oh, I don't remember exactly what I said the other day, but it just gets us moving a little more. And once you get into a rhythm and figure out the timing, I mean,
Mm.
you can take the timing of this drill into any turn, any terrain. You know, it's helpful all over the place.
So Charlie, would you say, like, in terms of, like what you're supposed to do during the transition, is it just a good way to get your body moving from one position to the next, right? Like it's almost like you recenter and then you re-engage.
Yes, exactly. And it kind of keeps us out of that um, park and ride zone, if you will. Does that make sense, Melissa? Like, you
Yeah,
know,
I think
I'm
think
guilty
so.
of it myself. Like, you get into a good turn and then just stay there. um,
Yeah.
and we kind of
Yeah.
become static and stuck. And in that next turn, it's like, oh gosh, I got to get into it. I got to boom. And then we move real quick and then we're stuck again. Um, whereas this kind of keeps us moving, flexing and extending continuously.
Okay. That was, as you were saying, that makes a lot of sense, because sometimes we make a good turn and then we come out of it, we ride it a little bit, and then we got to hurry through the transition to the next turn, and then it's just like you rush the transition every time, right? Or the
Mhm.
terrain forces you to move a little bit faster than you wanted to.
Yep. And this will hopefully just kind of have a feeling of smoothing that all out.
Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot, Charlie.
Yeah.
Any other
Well,
thoughts, Melissa?
nope. I like it.
Okay. The next one I have pulled up is the drag pulls ski drill. Let me expand this and we'll watch this, and feel free to add any thoughts you may have.
So Daniel and Charlie, like, what is the purpose of this drill? Like, I see this person making short turns, but by dragging the poles, what is it forcing you to do? And holding them halfway down, I noticed.
So there's different ways of holding your poles, but the concept is both poles are staying on the surface of the snow through the entire turn, if you see that. And if you watch, by keeping those poles on the snow, they have to make some adjustments with that upper body um, in order to keep that upper body more or less perpendicular to the snow, um, rather than tipping more so to one side than the other. So that would lead back to kind of that balance that we're talking about, in order to um, achieve more control, smoothness, and balance of the transition between one turn to the next. Um, uh, by being able to manage our up control our upper body in relation to the feet and what the skis are doing, um, we'll be able to achieve that higher level of balance to be able to move over the skis effectively. That's kind of a roundabout way of saying uh, creating angles in the body, um, breaking free of those positions, moving more laterally. Does that answer your question, Melissa?
Yeah, so I guess like we're keeping the upper body quiet. That's one way I've heard it explained. And then it's really separating out like the upper body still, right? And then you're letting the lower body do what it's supposed to do when you ski, right? Right, is do all the work and the flexation, I guess.
Exactly. And like you had a very quiet body. I don't want you to hear it the wrong way. I mean, watch the video for yourself. Your upper body is very quiet and balanced over the skis, but it was following the skis a lot. I don't know if you remember, but I did mention something of that accord in the observation phase. So if you watch these skiers here, um, the skis are taking a very different path than that body, right? And it's by keeping those poles in contact with the snow, um, you force that to happen. So it's a great way to force the sensation that we're looking for of the skis taking a separate path for that dynamic turn shape. Um, yeah, I'll finish my
Yeah,
sentence there.
that makes sense.
You have any other
I would
thoughts,
probably
Charlie?
Well, Melissa, you mentioned earlier about trying to get more angulation or to create more angles with your body. This drill helps with that.
Okay.
It helps you separate the upper and lower body this way a little bit. And I don't know if I can tip my hand right, but but this way, like Daniel said, laterally as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, to make sure that you keep that downhill pole in contact with the snow, you're gonna have to like pinch your hip or tilt your shoulders. Those are a couple different ways to think about it. Um, but you're gonna have to create some angles between the upper and lower body.
well said. Well said. That was eloquent, Charlie.
I like it. No, both of you explained it um, really well. Like, it makes sense what the goal is here.
All
And play
right.
with it with medium radius turns too. You don't have to do the exactly what this video shows. Um, you also like I find drills in particular, dancing bear tricks, if you will, um, are often easier to achieve and feel sensations in that medium radius world. But
Okay.
that's kind of my personal preference.
Definitely, I would agree, Daniel. And I've never tried it holding the poles this way, Melissa. I think I'm going to tomorrow. uh, but in more of a medium, even to a large radius turn, you can do it. I've always done it arms out to the side, maybe slightly in front of our body, palms facing up, and
Okay.
just pulls out from there.
But the important element of it is the poles stay on the snow and are not behind you dragging, right?
Okay.
You want them to be beside you on the snow, or else you kind of lose the effect. Um, so that would be like the key points of this drill.
Got it. That makes sense.
All right. We have the third prescription here, which is the hourglass drill. And let me expand this and we'll get this going.
Yeah, because this is what I look like. I'm sure this is what you guys look like.
Ooh. Now he's doing a more carved turn, right? That's the style he's going for. Carved meaning the tail of the ski is following the same path laid out by the tip,
Okay.
versus more of a smeared turn where there's some displacement of the ski, which is more the style that you were rolling. You can do this exercise, if you will, both in carves, true carves, or in a skidded or shaped um, turn. But
Okay.
the idea is he starts large and then he slowly gets tighter and tighter. And then he goes back into large radius turn. So he's changing up his turn shape
Okay.
or turn size, if you will.
Yeah. What is the exact purpose of this drill? What are you trying to get Melissa to accomplish by doing this hourglass?
Charlie?
I'll take a stab at it. Sure. Let's see. It's it's gonna focus in my brain more in the. So the first two drills, Melissa, are going to. Well, the first one's going to get you moving more. Um, the second one is going to create a few more angles and some separation between your upper and lower body. And this drill, hopefully, will kind of put them all together. Um, and you'll start out in a large radius turn, and as they get shorter and smaller, the timing, the rate, and the intensity of those movements is going to have to change. So you're going to have to speed it all up and keep it together, and then slow it back down as those turns get larger again. So it just
Okay.
kind of, this will force you to put all those things together and master the timing of those movements.
Got it.
Yeah.
And that makes sense because timing changes as the terrain changes, right?
Yep.
Which I think is how everything is supposed to come together as an advanced skier. So that makes sense.
As the saying goes, you learn to ski by skiing, and this exercise or drill is a skiing drill. It's what you do out there. It's just a little bit more focused with parameters around what we're doing, but it's not a weird dancing bear trick that looks goofy or whatever. Um, it's bringing the full circle of those movements of flexion extension and creating angles, that angulation, weird word, right? And putting them together into a real turn. But we took it a step further, right? For you, of not just doing one type of turn, but can you blend it to do any type of turn to hopefully help you achieve your goal of ski all terrain in style, right? To help carry your all the work that you've been doing and move it towards being able to ski the runs that you want to do smoother. And you're going to do that by making all sorts of different turn shapes. So practicing some parameters around all the different turn shapes, large all the way to as tight as you can go, and then bring it back into as large as you can go, all the way tree tunnel line to tree line. I would even go more extreme than they did in the video, as far as variability, with in mind the work that you already did in those last two, right? Trying to feel those same sensations and bring those two very different sensations, but they work together. Bringing them together into an exercise.
Got it. I like it.
So at the end here, we did the clap behind the back, the drag poles drill, and also the hourglass. Charlie, you did a really good summary before. Do you mind summarizing why we're doing each one of those drills?
Yeah. So the hands behind the back or the clappers will get you moving more extension, more flexion. The pole draggers will separate your upper and lower body a little bit, help you create some more angles. And then the hourglass drill will hopefully kind of tie those all together. And like Daniel said, try to bring the sensations from those first two drills into that third.
Yeah, you have any final questions, Melissa?
No, I don't think so. These are 3 drills that I don't think I've done before. Maybe once I did dragging the ski poles, but not enough for it to be memorable, right? So no, I think this is fun. I'm really excited about the clapping one. I mean, just because the transition, like, right, everything happens in the transition. Like, at least that's my opinion, right? Like getting up on the new outside edge, right? You getting yourself set up, because once you get in the turn, like that's the fun part, right? So like I'm just looking forward to being in the right place, getting that extension and that flexion, and just getting set up over the skis, where I want to be on the skis. So yeah, all good things.
Yeah. Does Daniel, Charlie, Melissa? We don't have a lot of questions. I think we have one question. You want to answer questions from the public?
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
It's mostly my friend Rich making jokes. So
Hi,
I won't
Rich.
read the jokes.
Next.
Yeah.
He needs to
But
be next.
and then a YouTube user, which is a good chance that's my mother, counteracting the jokes. Yeah. So anyhow, the one nice thing that was said here is here we go. This is a nice thing from Rich versus the jokes. Let's see. Melissa, you are a good skier. Many people would love to be in your skis. I think that's fair.
Thanks, Rich. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I talk like I'm not a great skier. I don't know, maybe because, I came from a humble place, right? Raised in the South, and I work hard at it. So yeah, I appreciate it.
But Rich did throw in a question here. Can you ever bounce too much from one turn to the next, or is that a good thing to unload aggressively?
What are your goals? that would be my question. Like you watch a Marcus Caston, he's one of my favorite pros, crushing a bump run, and he's launching over two moguls, landing down in the next drop over. Very intentional, having fun. Um, but if your goal is to have perfect control on like an ice run, if you're bouncing like that, you probably are going to lose a lot of control there in your next turn because there's going to be a lot more force and energy coming back into the ski snow interaction. Unless you're perfect, you'll probably skid out and lose a little balance.
All right. Yeah. I don't see any other good questions popping up. I think this was great. Obviously, I'm going to go through and edit this, but I hope you got a lot out of that, Melissa. I really appreciate you
Yeah.
doing this, Daniel and Charlie, and I hope other people they watch this and say, hey, I would like some of that instruction, and maybe we'll do some more beta testing on this and get some more people involved, and hopefully we can do this again.
Yeah, no, it was fun. Thanks for inviting me on here, Cody.
All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. I'm going to end the session, but if you'll stay on for a minute, that'd be good.
Sounds good. Well, and Melissa, thanks for putting yourself out there.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Really appreciate the tips.
Yeah, way to go, Melissa. I appreciate you doing this. It's you're pretty brave. You really are. I mean, it's always getting criticized, and I know you work on your skiing, and hopefully you get something out of this. So thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you, Cody.
Yes, thank you.